Start then with our commentators Murray Walker and James Hunt.
And it seems that both Brabhams had trouble in on the warm-up laps this morning. Patrese, who is third on the grid, took preference. He's got the spare car, so that means, sadly, that Derek Warwick looks to be standing in his garage and is not going to be able to race this afternoon. And the circuit, this is the fastest circuit on the calendar now, and of course there are no slow corners. Slowest corner on the circuit is taken well over 100 miles an hour. As they come down, famous Bosch curve, the end of the straight, they were, I understand that the McLarens were doing 220 miles an hour into this corner, or rather into the braking area, and they were sensationally spectacular to watch yesterday. Of course, I do an injustice to Silverstone by saying that this is the fastest circuit on the calendar. It is this year, but of course, when the Grand-Prix is at Silverstone, they actually average a little bit more there. So down through the Bosch curve, taken in fourth gear, some 130, 140 miles an hour. Cars bottom out at the bottom as the road dips a lot. And then for the two most difficult corners on the circuit. So the two left-handers. The road falls away, the cars go quite light. Two Williamses, and for PK Senna. See Johnny Dumfries there just wiggling about a bit, trying to get a bit of heat into his tyres. And of course, interestingly enough, the Williams team have elected for the hard compound of tyre, the A compound. They'll still have to make a stop, but most people are running the Bs. McLarens are certainly on Bs all round, and so Williams has gone conservative, and with their potential power advantage, that may be quite a wise choice.
Well, shortly you will see a unique sight in Grand Prix racing for 1986, and that is something that is not a Williams or a McLaren or a Lotus coming up in the front row of the grid, because the two massively powerful BMW-powered Benettons, and there they are in pole and second positions in the white helmets. Little Teo Fabi, the Italian, in the blue helmet, the hero of Austria, replacing Niki Lauda in that role, Gerhard Berger. Third on the grid, Keke Rosberg, reveling in the revised handling of his McLaren. Fourth, Riccardo Patrese in Derek Warwick's Brabham, because Warwick is non-starting after Patrese had trouble. Fifth is Prost. In sixth position on the grid, Nigel Mansell. Seventh is PK. Eighth is Senna. And those grid positions may differ from some that you've seen in your papers. And those grid positions are giving you the correct one, and away they go. And the two McLarens, it's Prost has got ahead of Rosberg. They go up to the Heller Leaf chicane. It's Berger leading, Fabi second, and Prost already up well with Keke Rosberg, and it's the two Benetton BMWs leading away.
Yes, and not a good day for Brabham. There goes Patrese, but he got a very poor start. He was very slowly away, and he's well over halfway down the field. So all that work in practice come to no avail, and not a happy day for Brabham.
Well, now the Benetton BMWs making use of their superior power, although that power is not as superior in the race as it is in practice, are ahead of the McLaren, and it's Nigel Mansell fourth, PK fifth, Keke Rosberg is in sixth position, Senna is seventh, and René Arnoux is eighth. Coming down now to the tremendously fast Bosch curve, which they take at some 160, believe it or not, miles an hour. Then onto the two left Texaco bends, Gerhard Berger with the Vortis streaming up from his rear wing is leading his teammate Teo Fabi.
Yes, I see a bit of fluid coming off the rear wing of Fabi's car. I don't hard to say what it is. It may just be an excess of fuel coming out of the breather at this early stage of the race, but certainly it was chucking something out.
Glorious weather conditions. Benetton BMW leads Berger. Benetton BMW second. Farby. A long lead over Prost with Mansell, Piquet, Rosberg and Senna. And there goes Mansell, there is Piquet, there is Rosberg, Senna. Alliot is behind his teammate Arnoux. And I say again that the weather is absolutely excellent at a Zeltweg Osтеррайхринг circuit, which is seething with rumours like the McLaren-Renault deal has been done. It's definite. We understand that Pirelli, who ironically are on both the leading cars at this moment, are going to withdraw from racing next week. We hear rumours, repeated rumours, as Nigel Mansell closes up on Prost. We hear rumours that Prost and John Barnard are going to Ferrari, notwithstanding the corrections that have been given in some quarters, and so on. Johnny Dumfries is into the pits, but the two Benetton BMWs, looking superb, are consolidating their lead, and the Austrian crowd, of course, is loving this. Gerhard Berger in the lead. Alan Jones for Australia is in 13th place in the Lola Ford, and look at the lead now that the two Benetton BMWs with Farby pushing his teammate Gerhard Berger very hard indeed as they come round the Jochen Rindt curve at some 160 miles an hour to complete lap 2. And this is an indication of how superbly these cars handle and their power.
There's Farby having a look down the inside of his teammate Berger, but of course the big difference that they've stretched out this huge lead would be very much down to tyres, and Pirelli, who have, it is ironic that they're apparently going to pull out of Grand-Prix racing just as they really seem to have come good. Their tyres are very competitive indeed with the Goodyears, and it will be a great shame to lose them.
Lap 3 in a 52-lap race, and with Riccardo Patrese already touring into the pits, you can see the dominant Benetton BMWs with Gerhard Berger in the front, Theo Farby in second position. In third place is Alain Prost, fourth is Nigel Mansell, fifth is Nelson Piquet, sixth is Keke Rosberg. In 12th position is Alan Jones, Martin Brundle is 14th, Jonathan Palmer is 18th, and Johnny Dumfries has come into the pits and has slipped well down the field. 38 degrees temperature. Dumfries has got going again. Berger leads. There's Farby.
Yes, it looks like the end of an absolutely disastrous day for the Brabham team as Riccardo Patrese gets out of his car and walks away. So it looks... And of course, with Warwick already out of the race before it even started, the Brabham team, remember, had trouble with both their race cars. They, of course, only had one spare. Patrese was the leading man on the grid in third place, so he got the spare. So poor Derek Warwick had no work to do at all. And Patrese hasn't had too much as he's gone out after only 2 or 3 laps.
Already, as you look at the Benetton BMWs, and with no disrespect to McLaren or to Lotus or Williams, it's a breath of fresh air to see a new constructor at the front, and they're leading by some 4 seconds. There's the battle for third between Prost and Mansell. Mansell ahead of his teammate Nelson Piquet, still fifth, and the second of the McLaren stripped by Keke Rosberg in 6th position. Now look at the handling of this Rory Byrne designed car, the Benetton, which used to be the Tolman team, of course, and you can see now that Berger seems to have wound the boost up a bit to pull away from Theo Farby. There is an advantage for a 4-cylinder single turbocharger engine, which is what the BMW is, on this very fast Osтерrайchring circuit, the lap record for which is held by Prost at 129.24. That's just under 150 miles an hour. But the qualification speed of the pole position man, Theo Farby, yesterday was 160 miles an hour. Completing now the 4th lap. Berger over the lead, in the lead. Farby second, Now this gap, and in third position it is Prost. Fourth is Mansell. Then a gap. Fifth is Piquet. Then a gap. Sixth is Rosberg. Seventh is Senna. Eighth is Arnoux. Ninth is Alliot. That's good. 10th is Michele Alboreto, and the two Ligiers, therefore, are also going well. Another indication that the Pirelli car is a very good one to have on this Osтерrайхринг circuit, because they're on the two Benetton BMWs, there they are, they're on the two Ligiers, and they were hoping for good things on the Brabhams, but already they are both the Brabhams out of the race.
And so Fabi seems to be dropping back a little bit. Soon, there he is, just going out of the picture, soon to fall into the clutches of Prost and Mansell. And of course, this race will be a very tight one on fuel. The cars will have to run limited amount of boost, very carefully worked out for their 195 litres to make it last the distance. And the last couple of laps are going to be pretty serious nail-biting moments for everybody.
Lap 5 out of 52. The gap between Berger in the lead and Prost third is 4.8 seconds. And Nigel Mansell right up there behind Prost. Mansell looking for at least a position in the top 6 to keep a World Championship point at minimum, and certainly to keep ahead of his teammate Nelson Piquet and Ayrton Senna, who are second and third in the championship. Prost crosses the line in third position. There's Gerhard Berger leading, sparks flying as Fabi comes up in second position. Prost is third, Mansell is fourth. There they go into the Hella-Leek chicane at 130 miles an hour.
Yes, Nigel Mansell seems, for the time being anyway, to regain the supremacy that he had earlier in the season over his teammate Nelson Piquet. That Piquet then wrested from him in the last two Grand Prix, Hockenheim and Budapest. And this is a very, very important race for the two Williams drivers today, particularly relative to each other. The car seems to be on the way to making one of them world champions. Nigel Mansell, of course, got an 8-point lead over Nelson Piquet, and he'll be very anxious to stretch that.
Well, Berger is now leading by 1.2 seconds. Prost still in third position in the McLaren. And the three best handling cars on this circuit, the Benetton, the Williams and the McLaren, are, as expected, dominating the proceedings. Berger leads, Fabi second, Prost third, Mansell fourth, Piquet fifth, Rosberg in sixth position. Then in seventh place, Ayrton Senna, followed by René Arnoux and Alliot, eighth and ninth in the Ligiers. Nigel Mansell was not at all happy in practice on Friday and Saturday. He actually got in very little mileage, but was fastest in the half-hour warm-up this morning, as it's called. Opted to go out on hard tyres, but then changed his mind subsequently, and it looks as though he made a good decision, hanging on to Alain Prost well. Alain Prost similarly did not have the happiest of practices, fifth on the grid, and Prost desperately needs points. He's the reigning world champion. He won here last year. He won in 1983. Over the crest, down towards the Bosch curve, which is certainly one of the most spectacular corners in Grand Prix racing, which they take at over 160 miles an hour. And you can see there the difference between Berger, who is leading. Prost, that you're looking at, is now some 6.2 seconds. Rory Byrne is the South African who designed this car, and he's famous for producing superb handling motor cars on fast circuits. And you can see the results of his handiwork with Gerhard Berger there, 26 years old, comes from Virgil here in Austria, crossing the line now to complete his 7th lap. And the gap now, as Berger goes up the hill towards the Hella-Leek chicane, is 3.2 seconds. Here is Fabi, the little Italian. More sparks. Alain Prost, tight up. Nigel Mansell in 4th position. Hella-Leek chicane, right, left. Now they go up into 4th gear at 160 miles an hour. to 5th at 180, into 6th gear as they go to this left-hand sweep here, which they take at 190 miles an hour. Now towards the Glax curve, and you're looking at Alain Prost in the McLaren, 3rd. There's Nigel Mansell, 4th. Up to the fastest part of the circuit, the straight which approaches the Bosch curve, and they're doing over 200 miles an hour, with Gerhard Berger on lap 8, leading in the Benetton BMW from Fabi, and there Prost and Mansell 3rd and 4th. Torbay has come into the pits in the Lola Ford, and behind Nigel Mansell is Nelson Piquet. There's a long gap between Mansell and Piquet of some 3 seconds, which is a lot at this stage of the race. Keke Rosberg 6th.
Yes, I should think that Nigel Mansell is pretty happy to sit where he is at the moment, save fuel. There's no real reason to try and charge past Prost. This is going to be a race where tactics and fuel conservation is of tantamount importance, and he's nice and comfortably ahead of his teammate. There is Johnny Dumfries in the picture. He, of course, has been in the pits already. And Mansell, I would think, would be, at the moment, just trying to keep up, running as little boost as possible.
So Martin Brundle is in 13th place behind Alan Jones, and Senna into the pits. Ayrton Senna in 7th position into the pits for a tyre change this early. Ayrton Senna started on B compound tyres. He was planning to switch to B's on the left, C's on the right, different hardnesses, and he must have decided that he needs to do it much earlier than was expected. This is lap 9 that he's on now, and we didn't expect him to come in until round about lap 24. But meantime, Gerhard Berger, there he is, and Theo Fabi, both of them looking very steady in the German BMW-powered Benetton cars made.
Yes, Jonathan Palmer seems to be in trouble. He's just come past us with not a very nice sounding engine, throwing quite a lot of smoke out. So Jonathan Palmer in trouble.
Was in 19th place, but Brundle is 13th. Alan Jones for Australia in 12th position. Nigel Mansell, of course, still holding that 4th position out of the Jochen Rindt curve to complete lap 9 in this 52-lap race. Gerhard Berger looking as steady as a rock, now 2.4 seconds ahead. And here's Johnny Dumfries coming up. He's been lapped, of course, as he's been into the pits. 3rd and 4th. Now 1 Prost, 5 Mansell. So we have 2 pairings at the front. Berger leading with Fabi sitting comfortably behind him in 2nd place. Then the battle for 3rd place that you're looking at now as they go up towards the right-handed Glax curve. World champion Alain Prost, 2 wins this season. Nigel Mansell there, 4 wins this season. 3rd and 4th. Well ahead now of Nelson Piquet. Keke Rosberg is still in that 6th position. And look at Mansell. Nigel Mansell oozing confidence these days. He's really on top of his craft with 4 wins behind him. He can well expect to be. Now, I understand that in England you may be having trouble with your pictures. James and I will continue to tell you what we see. For a change, we've actually got pictures. It's usually the other way around. But now it's still Berger leading, and there was a worry earlier on that the BMW-powered car might have fuel consumption problems. It's a thirsty engine. They'll have wound the boost down. The gap is now 1.6 seconds, so Fabi is closing up on his teammate Gerhard Berger, who is leading. Still an increasing gap. The 2 BMW-powered cars, the Benetton, are pulling away from this tight scrap that we are looking at the moment between Prost and Mansell for 3rd position. And into the pits again comes Johnny Dumfries. So things aren't looking too rosy for the Lotus team. Dumfries in twice already. Ayrton Senna has been in for tyres. So Mansell now is increasing his lead over fifth place man Nelson Piquet. When I say his lead, Mansell's in fourth position, and he's now some 6.5 seconds ahead of the Brazilian. So Nelson Piquet is hardly going to be driving a tactical race at this stage of the event. So something must be awry with Piquet's Williams Honda. Senna into the pits again for the second time. It's all falling apart for the Lotus Renault team to be the Lotus Honda team next year. Ayrton Senna into the pits for the second time, and it looks as though his World Championship hopes are being dealt a knock. He's second in the World Championship at the present moment. Up has come the engine cover, I can tell you, as you hopefully look at Theo Fabi crossing the line at the end of his 11th lap. I understand you got pictures back, so now you're looking at Prost still in third position, Mansell still in fourth position. I'll tell you that Senna is beginning to look as though his race has run as Nigel Mansell goes through the Hella-Leak chicane. I'm looking across at the Lotus pit, which is directly opposite me. There is the Glax curve, the two leading Benetton BMWs, and Ayrton Senna's engine cover, indeed the whole of the top of the car has been lifted up. The Brazilian is sitting impassively there, and the laps are slipping away. Martin Brundle is still in 12th position, but Alessandro Nannini, who, by the way, is in the new Minardi. There's Streff in the insert coming into the pits. Alessandro Nannini is driving a superb race in a car that is acknowledged to be much slower than the rest. He's in 13th position. Lap 12. Berger leads. You see him going round the left-hander there. Fabi second, some 1.7 seconds behind. Prost is third, 8 seconds behind the leader. Mansell is fourth, just behind Prost. Piquet is still fifth, 6 seconds now behind Mansell. Rosberg is sixth. Arnoux is seventh. Alio is eighth, and the second of the two Ligiers. Alboreto is ninth. Johansson, who is driving in great pain with an injured back after going off 3 times in practice, is 10th. Alan Jones is 11th. Martin Brundle is 12th, carried by Nannini, and the two Benettons are looking as though they've got things very much under control.
Yes, they certainly look in command at this stage, but of course what we don't really know is just how well the Pirelli tyres will last and how many stops they're going to have to make. They'll be hoping to get away with just one tyre change, but they've really dominated at the beginning, and they've come back just a little bit. The others seem to be holding them now.
There's the confirmation that Senna is still in the pits, and his race is definitely run because the top of the car is lifted right up above him. Senna has rejoined Dumfries. That was Dumfries' car, my apologies. The engine cover was being lifted up in exactly the same way as it was with Senna. And there's no change. We're on lap 13 now. What a change of form this is. Because although the Benetton BMWs have shown great promise this season, they've never been up where they are now. First and second positions and commanding the race. Enormous encouragement for Peter Collins, who runs the team. Here they are completing another lap. For Rory Byrne, who designed them. For Pat Simmons, for everyone else in the team. Over the line has gone Berger and Fabi. Look now for the red and white McLaren, and it looks to me as though Mansell is challenging Prost for third position. Mansell's much closer now than he was a lap ago. The gap between Prost and Mansell in third and fourth places has decreased a bit, and Mansell is still in a commanding position from the World Championship point of view, because he is well ahead of Piquet, his teammate, and that's Martin Brundle. Martin Brundle out. What a pity, because Martin was going well in practice. He's taken the steering wheel off, because that is what's designed to happen when the driver gets out. And I hope that fire extinguisher was necessary, because the powder that it makes creates a filthy mess on the engines, which is very difficult to clean off. So, looking down, that means to say that Alan Jones now, for Australia in the Lola Ford, has taken Martin Brundle's place. He's up into 11th position. And the race order on lap 14 out of 52 as the two Benetton BMWs pass one of the Minardis, which looks as though it's touring in to retire yet again. The order is Berger leading Farby. Prost is still third, Mansell is still fourth, then it's Piquet fifth, Rosberg sixth, René Arnoux is in 7th position, and in 8th place is teammate Philippe Alliot. That's an excellent achievement by Alliot. And it would seem that the Williams Honda of Nigel Mansell has got the drop on Prost coming down the last fast straight, because he closes up only for Prost to pull away here.
Yes, that's right. They're concertinaing about. As you can see, that this is the point of the circuit where Prost seems to get away, and then through this corner, Mansell tends to close up again. But I think Nigel's probably very happy with his situation. I don't suppose he's really ready to mount a serious challenge yet, because of course that is costly in terms of fuel. So, and I think, as with all the races that we've had this year, when fuel has been marginal, the race really starts after everybody's stopped to change tyres. They look after things, save fuel in the first half of the race, and then the second half becomes the sprint.
As you look at Prost third and Mansell fourth, I can tell you that there seems little doubt that Ayrton Senna is not going to be scoring any World Championship points in this race. He's come into the pits again. He's had to retire 3 times this year, and it may well be that this is going to be the 4th time, but it's doing his World Championship hopes absolutely no good at all. And Mansell, this is where Mansell closes. From here on, he may just make a pass at Prost. He's closer than he has been in the past. He could close on Prost as they come down into this 195-mile-an-hour straight, but he pulls out to the right, but he's too far back to get through as they go into the Hella-Leek chicane. Right. Now the left-hander, then the right, which leads up in the very fast sweep towards the Glatz curve on lap 16 out of 52. Johnny Dumfries has retired with engine trouble, and Senna's problem is a persistent misfire. So Derek Warwick is out. In fact, he didn't even start the race because he had to give his car to Riccardo Patrese, who was in 4th position on the grid. There is one of the Minardis, Nannini. I told you that's the new car, and it looks as though it's about to be bent as he goes into a spin with the left rear wheel almost knocked off. Alessandro Nannini, who is rumoured, and I emphasise a rumour, to be joining the Benetton team next year, goes ploughing off into the undergrowth. That is certainly one of the more spectacular offs that we've seen, and he should be perfectly all right. Indeed, he is perfectly all right, because there he is walking in. Nannini out then to join Derek Warwick, Riccardo Patrese, Martin Brundle, Johnny Dumfries, and there is the new Minardi. I'm looking a bit second-hand. Berger leads, and Farby right up with him now. Is he going for the lead on lap 17?
It looks as if that wheel has come adrift on Nannini's car, which is what probably caused the shunt. Now have best part of 10 seconds on Alain Prost in third place. So the Pirelli tires certainly seem to be working pretty well at the moment, and I think Fabi is setting himself up to have a challenge for the lead. He ducks out, he's going to have to go a long way round, and Fabi takes the lead. Disappointment for the Austrian crowd, but I think they've got plenty to look forward to with Gerhard Berger. He's a very talented driver, and Fabi has slowed down. Fabi seems to be in trouble.
I was about to say that Fabi loves this sort of going. He likes fast, open, sweeping circuits. He made his challenge. He took the lead, only immediately to lose it. Has he blown the BMW engine? Because there is no sign of him. As the camera looks back along the circuit, there he is. And I expect very soon you'll see Alain Prost and Nigel Mansell go past the multi-coloured Benetton BMW to take second and third positions, and up goes Farby's hand. Into second position goes Prost. Into third position goes Mansell. This is lap 17, and Theo Farby must surely be retiring. Cruel luck. But now Mansell is going for second. Now this is his chance, and Nigel Mansell going for second place, and can he get through on the inside? He's got very close before. Prost has got the line just about and holds it, but with Mansell this close, it's very clear that Nigel Mansell on lap 18 now has decided, he may well have seen that Theo Farby's gone out. He knows the World Championship situation, and he's going for second by trying to get past Alain Prost. So on lap 18, it is Gerhard Berger leading, and there is Hub Rotengatter, surely the most unfortunate driver in Grand Prix racing these days, with a very badly bent Zaxby coming in to retire.
Yes, and also while that was going on, Philippe Alliot has come into the pits and had his car pushed straight to the garage. I saw quite a lot of fluid of some sort being churned out of it as he toured slowly in, so it's all over for Alliot today.
Lap 18, Prost second, Mansell third. There they are. Gerhard Berger still leads, and he's got to keep it going now. For Benetton, for BMW, for Pirelli, for Austria, and of course for himself. Out of the race, Derek Warwick, Riccardo Patrese, Martin Brundle, Johnny Dumfries, Alessandro Nannini, Theo Farby, Hub Rotengatter, and Philippe Alliot, and this is only lap 18. Alan Jones is marching through the field. He's in 9th position now.
Yes, of course, when we have exceptionally hot weather, it does tend to put more of a strain on the reliability of the cars. We tend to get greater failure rate. The temperatures of the engine, the oil and the water start to get a bit marginal.
Nigel Mansell swarming round the back of Alain Prost's McLaren, pushing the Frenchman every inch of the way. But of course, Alain Prost, who is driving today in his 101st Grand Prix, is not a man to be flustered. There in the background is Piquet in the pits. It's only a tyre stop. He shoots away now, and on lap 19, Gerhard Berger leads by 12 seconds with his teammate, who was second, Theo Farby, out. There is the new second place man, Alain Prost. Mansell right behind him in third position. In fourth position is Keke Rosberg now. Fifth was Nelson Piquet, but he will have lost a place due to coming in for that tyre stop. Mansell taking a bit of a breather. Is he going to turn the boost up as he comes out of the Jochen Rindt curve and go for that second place again? Not this lap, I think, because he's just not close enough.
Yes, and he's being very careful with his fuel. I've noticed the two occasions when he's been close enough to have a look at Prost. It would appear to me that he hasn't been turning his boost up, which in the Williams car they've got a button, they can just push it for more boost. And so obviously he's being very careful and sensible and conservative with his fuel.
Piquet, who left the pits after a tyre change, is in 6th position, and the race order now on lap 20 out of 52. Berger leading by 12 seconds. There's the battle for second between Prost and Nigel Mansell. Fourth, Keke Rosberg. So both the McLarens are in the top four. Fifth is René Arnoux in the Ligier. Sixth is Nelson Piquet. Seventh, Alboreto. Eighth, Johansson in the second Ferrari. Alan Jones, going well, is ninth. The last chap not to be lapped because the leaders have lapped everybody up to Alan Jones this early in the race. And I think we're going to see very few people finish this race. Into the pits comes Alboreto in 7th position. Now watch the Ferrari mechanics change the wheels and tyres. That's a good one. Oh, it's a beauty. 7.74 seconds is very quick indeed. And the Ferraris are going much better here at the Osтерraichring. They've got the balance much better. There's never been any doubt about Ferrari engine power. And Michele Alboreto could well be up in the closing stages of this race if he keeps the car going. Number 21 there is Ginzani, who is in the Osella, about to be lapped by race leader Gerhard Berger, the Austrian, in the Benetton BMW. You'll see the difference in a moment in speed between the Benetton and the Osella. The Ocella's got the old now V8 Alfa Romeo engine in it. They would dearly love to have something more powerful, but the Osella team just does not have the budget. Berger leading on lap 21. There he is. Prost 11 seconds behind him in second place, just ahead still of Nigel Mansell third. Keke Rosberg is in fourth position. In fifth position, it's René Arnoux. And then in sixth place, it's Nelson Piquet. And the gap between Mansell in third position and Piquet is about 45 seconds. So Mansell's in a very commanding position from the World Championship point of view if he could just keep going. I have been saying consistently that I expect the World Championship to go right down to the last race, the Australian Grand Prix in Adelaide. And at the present moment, I see no reason to change my mind. That was Thierry Boutsen that you saw go through. He's in the new A9 Arrows, and Gordon Kuppak is here to look after it. And more about that later, because Mansell's at it again. Now, Mansell is close enough to Prost to go for second.
Yes, and Prost into the pits. So Prost is coming in presumably for tyres. And it looks as if the hard compound tyre that Mansell has chosen may well be the clever thing to do. Because Prost is in, well, about on schedule, maybe just a couple of laps early, but they seem to have a problem. And that was a very slow stop by top team standards, but they were looking around one of the radiators of the car. It may be that he picked up a bit of paper or something, and that can dramatically affect the cooling of the car if you get something stuck in your radiator.
Well, you look at Gerhard Berger on lap 22, and Alan Jones is showing his old form because he went superbly at the Hungaro Ring last week in a car which ideally suited the conditions, but now in a car which does not ideally suit the conditions. He is up to sixth place and in World Championship points. Alboreto's been in, of course, in the Ferrari, and you've seen Prost come in. Philippe Alliot went out with engine trouble. We're on lap 22. Gerhard Berger is continuing to lead comfortably in the Benetton BMW. Is the fuel consumption going to be all right? Is the engine reliability going to be all right? Well, Berger crosses the line now to complete 22 laps.
Yes, certainly running very well at the moment. They haven't had a particularly good finishing record this year, the Benetton team. They've shown a fair bit of speed and quite a lot of promise, but their results haven't really matched up to that, so we'll keep our fingers crossed for Berger.
So far this season, as you look at Gerhard Berger, the Benetton team have actually had 14 retirements in the 11 races we've had so far, because Fabi's gone out 8 times, Berger's gone out 6 times. The highest position that they've had was Gerhard Berger, the leader. There he is, third in San Marino. And now, lap 23, Berger leads. Mansell is in second position. In third position, it's Alain Prost, who's made his tyre stop. Fourth is... Sorry, let's start again. On lap 23, with Gerhard Berger in the lead, Nigel Mansell is second, Keke Rosberg is third, because down to fourth due to his tyre stop has gone Alain Prost. Fifth is René Arnoux, and in sixth position is Nelson Piquet. Alan Jones is in eighth position, and there is Stefan Johansson leaving the pits in his Ferrari. Now Stefan Johansson, who is accelerating up the hill towards the Hella Licht chicane, and there's Alan Jones at sixth, about to be caught and lapped by race leader Gerhard Berger on his 24th lap. And you see in the background Johansson, who came to Austria with a bad back after problems in Hungary, has had treatment from Niki Lauda's physician, Willy Dungal, the famous Willy Dungal, an Austrian, and Stefan Johansson compounded his problem by going off the circuit 3 times, one of them very hard indeed on Friday when he spun off and hit an advertising hoarding pole, and he started the race in great pain. Rosberg stopping on lap 24. That's John Barnard, the man who took the paper out from the right-hand pod of Alain Prost's car when he stopped. And the rumours continue to rage here at Austria that John Barnard is not only going to Ferrari as their designer and chief everything next year, but he's going to be allowed the luxury of designing the new Ferrari in Britain. Gerhard Berger, lap 24. Over the crest which leads down to the Jochenrindt curve, which is a 160-mile-an-hour bend, and the Austrian in the Benetton BMW making it look so very easy and effortless over the line to complete lap 24. And the gap, and he's now lapped Alan Jones, who you see in the red Lola Ford coming up in 6th position. The gap between Berger, the leader, and Mansell in 2nd place is 9.95 seconds, and that is very comfortable, thank you. It's just possible that Gerhard Berger, leading there, on the hard compound Pirelli race tyre, could go through this race without stopping. And if he can do that, of course, it will give him an immeasurable advantage. That's Christian Danner in the Arrows, the tall, amiable German in the A8 Arrows, not the new one. Lap 25. Gerhard Berger leading. Mansell is in 2nd place. Prost is in 3rd place. Arnoux is in 4th position. And Alan Jones is now up into 5th position as I talk to you. Here's the leader, and the positions are certainly changing almost by the second as I talk to you behind Gerhard Berger, because it's Mansell 2nd, Prost 3rd, Arnoux in 4th position, up to 5th position as into the pit comes Gerhard Berger, the race leader. Berger coming into the pits at the end of his 25th lap for what is going to be a crucial tyre stop. And Nigel Mansell will be coming through shortly. I expect to take the lead, to go into the lead, and he has done it. Nigel Mansell is leading the Austrian Grand Prix with Gerhard Berger still in the pits, and this is an exceptionally long pit stop. Oh, good heavens. Oh, the engine cover coming up. This is tragic. This is disaster for the Benetton BMW team. But Nigel Mansell, of course, who will be in touch with his pit by radio as ever, will receive the glad tidings that Berger is in some sort of real trouble. Farby already out, having been 2nd for a lot of the race in the Benetton BMW, and now Berger with a commanding lead in the pits. And Nigel Mansell is very shortly going to be a lap ahead of the previous leader. There is the new leader of the Austrian Grand Prix, the man who has already won 4 Grand Prix this year. Nigel Mansell, the winner in Belgium, in Canada, in France and Great Britain, leading the World Championship, 7 points ahead of Ayrton Senna. And looking now, although we are only just about halfway through the race, in fact we're on the half-distance lap, as though he's going to make it 5 wins, which would really, surely crush his teammate Nelson Piquet's hopes of getting 3 World Championships. Mansell across the line to lead up to the Hella Licht chicane. Now, next through should be Alain Prost or Keke Rosberg. They were very close. The 2 McLarens battling behind Nigel Mansell. There is the race leader, and there are comparatively few cars left in this Austrian Grand Prix. the heat and the speed are causing a lot of retirements. And over the line goes Alain Prost in second place.
And Berger is still in the pits. There you are in the little caption, the inset. Feverish activity around his car, but he's lost too much time to be in any sort of contention now. Mansell leads by some 28 seconds from Alain Prost, but remember that Mansell has still yet to stop and change his tyres, whereas Prost and Rosberg and Piquet behind have all changed already.
So Nigel Mansell on lap 27, leading Alain Prost now by some 28 seconds, and that's comfortable. And Thierry Boutsen about to retire to join the many retirements in the new A9 Arrows, which has clearly blown part of probably the turbo of its BMW engine. There is Berger sitting in the pits. He must be absolutely heartbroken, having commanded the race virtually from the beginning. And whatever the problem is, even if they succeed in curing it, there is no way that he's going to win this race, and there's no way that Thierry Boutsen there is going to finish it. Into the pits now comes Stefan Johansson. It's pits time for one reason or another for all sorts of people. Berger is there. Boutsen has come in to retire. Johansson is in. And now on lap 27, it is Mansell leading. Prost in second position. René Arnoux is third. Nelson Piquet is fourth. Keke Rosberg is fifth. And Michele Alboreto in sixth position.
Well, the interesting thing is that Alain Prost has just about holding his gap with Nigel Mansell, and because Mansell hasn't stopped by now, it is possible that he's going to go and try and go the whole distance on his hard compound tyres. That would have been part of the reason for using the harder compound, but they weren't confident that they could do it before the race. And if that is the case, and Prost is in fact catching Mansell. He's still a fair way behind, but he's pulled some 4 or 5 seconds on him in the last lap. So if Mansell is going to stop, he'd better do it pretty soon, because obviously he'll get more grip with a fresh set of tyres, and it's getting a bit late.
You look at Berger, and I will tell you that Keke Rosberg is pushing very hard for fourth place, closing right up on Nelson Piquet. Mansell into the pits. Nigel Mansell's vital pit stop. We've had a very fast stop from Ferrari, and this looks like an absolute cracker from Williams, but the right rear seems to be stuck. Not too bad, though. 11.19 seconds. Mansell gets away. That'll do nicely.
And as Mansell got away, just as he was dropping the clutch, Alain Prost swept by into the lead. So Prost now leads. We'll get a gap on from Mansell to Prost as soon as we can when they come round. But that means that Nigel has got to do the chasing.
Berger's problem is the electrical box which controls the engine management system, which controls all the electrical functions. Something has gone wrong with that. They will change it, but it will take time. And now, with Keke Rosberg up into third place ahead of René Arnoux, you are looking at the new race leader, Alain Prost. And there is the second place man on his new boots, Nigel Mansell. And this is lap 29. So, there's Prost.
Well, it certainly potentially heats up the World Championship, because all the leading contenders, with the exception of Senna, are running in relatively high point-scoring positions, and it's really a very vital stage in the championship. It's vital for Mansell to stop the rot, if I could call it that. It was hardly rot. I mean, he's been doing very well, but the last couple of races haven't been quite so happy for him, but he seems to have come back to full form here as René Arnoux comes into the pits.
Prost goes through, and now we can look at the gap between race leader Alain Prost and Nigel Mansell as Prost goes into the Helle Licht chicane. Nigel Mansell is 11.8 seconds behind. Prost drifts his left rear out onto the dust there. No problem. That's the line. They've been doing it all through practice. And he's coming up now to Alan Jones. And that gives Nigel Mansell the opportunity to close the gap a bit because Prost didn't get past Jones there. They're going down to the Bosch curve. This is lap 30, 52 lap race. Prost leading, Mansell second. Rosberg is in third place. In fourth position it is Piquet now. In fifth position it is Michele Alboreto. And in sixth position René Arnoux, who has gone into the pits.
Well, we've got a good view of Alan Jones's problems then as Prost passed him. The fact being that Prost was able to just drive past him on the straight. But at the same time, the Ford engineers have certainly improved their engine. And Piquet coming into the pits now. This is Piquet's second stop, and he's waving his finger. That looks like he's in some rather more terminal trouble.
Let's see. Oh, it looks rather leisurely. It looks rather leisurely. There's no attempt. Nelson Piquet retires from the Austrian Grand Prix. The man who's in third position in the World Championship. Gerhard Berger is very much back in the running with a new transistor box on the Brabham BMW. And the way people are retiring, I may have to eat my words about Berger finishing in the top six. It's not inconceivable that he'll do that. We are now on lap 32, so there's another 20 laps to go. And there is race leader Alain Prost. Mansell, some 11.5 seconds behind him. The second McLaren in third place, that of Keke Rosberg. Michele Alboreto in fourth place. Nelson Piquet out of the race. So up to fifth position will come Arnoux, and back to sixth place should come Alan Jones. Well, we'll soon see. This is the Bosch curve. Here is the leader. The gap was 11.8 seconds. There is Johansson, and there are Johansson and Berger, with Berger in front, but down in 13th position now, 4 laps adrift.
Yeah, Mansell's now got his tyres hot and working properly, and he's holding Prost for the moment. But we'll keep an eye on that gap. He reduced it very slightly on the last lap, but not by any significant quantity, but he may just still be getting the tyres right up to full working temperature, and if he can do that, he may start to close on Prost.
See how well Berger's going. What a pity that electrical box gave the trouble. Well, Prost goes through now. 11.8 seconds was the lead. You're looking at Gerhard Berger, who is down in 13th position, 4 laps adrift. The seconds are ticking by, and the gap between Mansell and Prost now is 12.25 seconds. Prost is extending his lead. Piquet out of the race. You look at the race leader, we're seeing a great deal of Gerhard Berger at the moment. He's an Austrian in Austria, and obviously the Austrian producer can't resist the temptation to concentrate on the local hero in the hope that he's going to start passing people, and he undoubtedly will, but with 4 laps between him and the race leader, he's got little hope of finishing well up. But Mansell, there he is. Can he close the gap between himself and race leader Alain Prost? Keep ahead of Keke Rosberg, who is third, Michele Alboreto, who is fourth, Alan Jones, who is now fifth, and believe it or not, up to sixth position has come Christian Danner, the German in the A8 Arrows. And with no disrespect to Danner or the Arrows, that's an indication of how many people have retired from this race, because even Christian himself, I'm sure, wouldn't have expected to be that far up. Prost has gone through to complete now his 32nd lap. There he is. 11.8 seconds was the gap between Prost, Hellenic chicane there, and Nigel Mansell. No, I said it was 12.25, didn't I? Well, now it's 13.41. Alain Prost, the winner in San Marino, the winner in Monaco, the man with 2 second places, 3 third places, and 2 sixth places, is going for victory to increase his World Championship hopes.
Yes, and it looks as if for the moment that Prost has got the legs on Mansell, but I don't suppose Mansell will turn down 6 points. He's some 10 or 11 seconds ahead of Keke Rosberg, so he's on his own, but he's in some danger. He can't afford to relax at this stage. He'll have to keep going really hard.
Now on lap 33, with Berger putting up a new lap record, 1:30.4, Gerhard Berger. He's going to make his mark on the Austrian Grand Prix by, that's not actually a new lap record, it's the fastest lap that we've had so far, but it's still outside Alain Prost's 1985 lap record of 1:29.2. Christian Danner, who had moved up into 6th position, is into the pits in the Arrows, and I'm looking across at a great deal of inactivity, and I fear we're about to see another retirement. The heat, of course, today will be getting not only at the driver, but very much at the machinery.
Yes, that's right. The cars, when it's as hot as this, they run pretty marginally on water and oil temperatures, and in fact, gearbox and everything like that. Now, you may say, well, why don't they put bigger radiators on the car? And the answer to that is very simple, that the radiators are a big disadvantage aerodynamically, and therefore the designer will always want to run the smallest radiators that he can for the aerodynamic advantage that gives, but of course he has to look after the engine, and when it's this hot, exceptionally hot as it is today, then things sometimes get a little bit too marginal, and the cars undoubtedly become more fragile in extreme weather conditions.
You look at, that was Alan Jones, there was René Arnoux. Now everybody at home will probably be wondering, as you look at Keke Rosberg in 3rd position, what Nigel Mansell's World Championship hopes will be if he holds his 2nd place and Prost wins. The answer is that Mansell will still very much be in the lead. Indeed, he can't be caught. Now, Prost is in the lead, and up into 2nd place has gone Rosberg. There he is. Where is Nigel Mansell?
Yeah, we're looking around. He's simply gone missing. He must have slowed down round the back of the circuit somewhere. We can't see him at the moment. He hasn't turned up in his pit as yet. So we're at a loss to know what's happened.
This is lap 35, Nigel Mansell, whose engine actually sounded a bit rough when he went past. And there he is. Nigel Mansell is out, and no points for Nigel Mansell. Retirement from the Austrian Grand Prix to make it 2 retirements this year. And what a bad race to retire from, because he had a chance of increasing his World Championship lead. But even though Nigel Mansell is out of the Austrian Grand Prix, he should still be in the lead of the World Championship, even if number 1 there, Alain Prost, wins here. That's 48. Prost leads, Rosberg 2nd, 1 lap adrift, Alboreto, then Alan Jones in 4th position, Stefan Johansson in 5th place, Patrick Tambay 6th, but will he hold it because he's been into the pit? And there is René Arnoux, who is down in 10th place, 5 laps down. Michele Alboreto there. The charming Italian who is the constant centre of media speculation and interest in Italy, of course. An Italian in a Ferrari is a pretty rare situation these days, but this is Michele Alboreto's 3rd season for Ferrari, having driven for Ken Tyrrell, for whom he won 2 Grand Prix. There is Alain Prost. This is lap 49. And he's going extremely slowly. Now, I'm beginning to wonder, I think I have the answer in my mind. This is a fuel consumption race. We're on the closing stages because this is lap 49. I'm sure that both Prost and Rosberg have got the boost turned down, and Rosberg retires. Lap 49, Keke Rosberg out. He's run out of fuel in previous races. I'm guessing that he's done it again, and this is going to mean that Alboreto will go up to 2nd place. Alan Jones up into 3rd position, or Johansson. No, it's Johansson, because as Rosberg runs away, Johansson had moved ahead of Jones.
Well, Prost's car seemed to miss a beat then when he went into the chicane, and that is a worry, because the two McLaren drivers, if that was fuel for Rosberg and a cough and a splutter for Prost, it means that the McLaren team's machinery has gone badly wrong, because the drivers have had plenty of opportunity to slow it down and really save fuel. They weren't under any pressure, and at Hockenheim, of course, they were getting positive readouts from their fuel gauges when both of them ran out of fuel on the last lap. So that wasn't down to the drivers. It was a technical problem, and it would be very surprising if McLaren hadn't put it right. So we watch with bated breath to see if Prost can get it round for the last couple of laps.
Well, here he is. 49 laps completed now for Alain Prost. And he will be watching that fuel gauge very carefully indeed. It's much more than a fuel gauge as you have in an ordinary production car, because you don't measure the amount that there is in the tank by having a float bobbing about on the petrol. You measure it by actually reading the flow of the petrol as it goes through to the injectors. It's very accurate indeed, or it usually is, but it certainly wasn't at Hockenheim for either Prost or for Rosberg, who lost vital places, because in the German Grand Prix, Prost finished in 6th position, and of course Rosberg was out. So is history being repeated? We're on lap 50 now. There is Berger, and the race order on lap 48 was Alain Prost leading, Michele Alboreto up into 2nd position, Stefan Johansson is up into 3rd position, Alan Jones is in 4th place, Patrick Tambay is in 5th position, and that should mean that Christian Danner is back in the points as he had been before, in 6th place in the Arrows BMW. Well, what a race. Lap 50. And there goes Stefan Johansson being caught by the fastest man on the circuit, Gerhard Berger. Fastest lap so far, 1 minute 29.784, compared with Alain Prost's lap record, which is still the 1 minute 29.24 from 1985. Berger's still got to go half a second quicker to beat the lap record held by Alain Prost, who is leading the 1986 Austrian Grand Prix now on his 51st and last lap but one. Prost leading, Alboreto second, a lap behind. Johansson third, a further lap behind, but on the same lap as Alan Jones, 14 seconds ahead of the Australian, who is fourth. In 5th position, it is Stefan Johansson, and then Christian Danner. And there's Berger going for that fastest lap in his Rory Byrne designed car. And there is the red and white McLaren, the only one left in the race, passing the stationary McLaren tag of Keke Rosberg, who will now grumpily be walking back to the pits as Gerhard Berger fairly flies past Prost, who naturally makes no attempt to retaliate at all. Why should he?
That's right. His only concern is making sure he gets there with some fuel still in the tank. Berger, of course, lost 4 laps in the pits. He will have unlapped one of those. And, of course, his tyres will be getting a little bit too warm now, probably, to really threaten the lap record.
The race leader, Alain Prost, is on his last lap. He is on his way to victory and 9 World Championship points. There is less than 2 miles now between him and victory, and that will move him up into 2nd place in the World Championship, only 2 points behind Nigel Mansell, who still retains or will retain the World Championship leadership. Alain Prost has driven an immaculate race, as he always does. This will be his 24th Grand Prix win in the 101 races that he will have completed very shortly when he crosses the line, and it will increase his already massive World Championship points to 336.5. A terrific achievement. There's Prost, almost home, over the crest. Now he's got to do the Jochen curve. When he clears the skyline here, he goes into the 160 mile an hour right-hander for the last time. He can coast home now. He won last year. He won in 1983. The checkered flag is out. Alain Prost in his McLaren tag wins the Austrian Grand Prix, and he is the only one to have completed the full